Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard. It is a damn fine day to talk about a book, and we're here for a book review. And look, we're going to talk about You Like It, You Like It Darker. I keep wanting to say You Like It Darker. You Like It Darker by Stephen King. Um, I know that if you watch me day to day, I don't know if I even have people that watch me day to day, but if you do, I've been highly repetitive because of the way I work. I do King shorts on all the short stories, and then I do a short at the end of it to kind of summarize and pick my favorite stories. I've talked about this in multiple Beard Book Talks or wrap ups, monthly wrap up, weekly wrap ups, things like that. So my feelings on this book have already been made known if you are a constant watcher. Again, I don't think I have a lot of those, but again, the way my brain works with putting out this well-read beard content is that, um, 5 years from now, I will want a full, non-short talk or review about this book, and if you were to click on it, then you probably haven't seen all this other stuff that makes me highly repetitive. Anyway, I know that I'm highly repetitive. Like when I tell you how much I liked this book and how the idea of having a King book in my hand in the month of October is highly nostalgic for me. It just brings back all that King magic, but just reading magic in general. And that's what this book did for me. Loved this book, giving it 5 stars, which I will also say that if I was reading constantly, this got me out of a slump. If I was reading constantly, this book may have not stood out as much. But for what it did for me, pulling me out of a slump, getting me back into it, loved it, loved it. And it's got some shorter pieces, 10 to 15 pages. It's got some longer pieces, between 50 and I think one of them might be even closer to 200 pages, like 180 pages or something like that. I liked the longer stuff. I liked, Steven, Stevie, whatever you want to call him, telling me a longish story and really kind of bringing it all back again. Just, I mean, look, he is one of the reasons that I read like I do today because I fell in love with it at the age of 14. And at that point, when I was 14, that would have been roughly 1990. So he had quite a few 20 plus, 25, 30, I don't know, but there were a lot of books on the shelf already, and I walked in the public library and saw them, and it was like, oh, the places we'll get to go, right? That type of thing. So anyway, so all that magic came back for this 48-year-old, just turned 48. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about every story in here. I mean, look, some of the short ones were just kind of quick gut punches or quick, yeah, okay, that's pretty good, But the longer ones, I just absolutely loved. So I'm going to talk about them in um, order of 4 to 1. My favorite being last. So, um, and again, yes, I know I've talked about most of these with you in a very short format or like in a wrap up type format already, but so the Answer Man is my fourth, and in that one, we have a guy that 3 times in his life, and again, I'm going to be brief about these, but or try to at least 3 times in his life, he comes across this Answer Man, this guy on the side of the road with a table, and doesn't look like he belongs, but you get this many questions for this amount of money, it changes every time, and he goes and asks questions about his future, and he quickly gets the feeling that this guy exists outside of normal reality. Like when he crosses that line in the gravel lot or shoulder of the road or whatever it is, and crosses over to the Answer Man, he is somewhere else. The Answer Man doesn't necessarily exist fully on this plane, and when he's with him, no one else can see him, and no one else can really see the Answer Man. Got this I don't know why I keep saying this, but this Robert Johnson deal with the devil kind of feel to it. But you know, again, he just gets answers to questions, and of course, you've got to be careful about what you ask, and you've got to make sure to not waste your questions and this and that. But the second time he goes and sees him, you know, he's older and he has a child, and his child loves baseball, and I am an athlete's father, and I think we put expectations on our kids. But anyway, this guy thinks that his son is really, really good at baseball, like, you know, more so than the average 8, 9 year old. I don't know exactly how old the kid was at the scene, but more so, right? I remember thinking the exact same thing about my daughter. My daughter is an artist. She's in college for art and marketing, but I remember I'm like, look, other second graders are not drawing like this. Am I right? I mean, you think those things about I mean, I think sometimes you think those things, even though you're maybe not right. I mean, she was advanced as an artist, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, but his kid plays baseball, loves baseball, and he's got in his head that, I mean, his kid's that damn good. He's going to play pro baseball. So he asked the answer man, is my kid going to play pro baseball? Well, no. Oh, okay, all right. Well, surely he's going to play college baseball. No, yeah. And then we get, is he going to play high school? No. And then you're like, well, what's going to happen to my kid, right? You're out of questions. Yeah, I mean, and as a parent of an athlete, of talented kids, or however you want to put it, it was like, oh shit, you you get all these plans about what your child is going to look like in 20 years, or what your child's going to be doing in 20 years, and you're not guaranteed anything, and for me that scene gut punched me a little bit, but anyway, the answer man. My third favorite is Two Talented Bastards. It is the first story in the book. It really is the one that pulled me in, pulled me out of the slump. Just loved that story. Loved the first half a little bit more than the second half, and I'll briefly get into that. But two guys, upstanding individuals in a small town. I mean, everyone knows them. I mean, they are local pillars of the community. Probably coach, youth sports. Probably held public office at some point. Local businessmen, whatever. But just local. You know, in their midlives. I mean, I want to say again, I have said this different ways, but late 40s, early 50s, my age, they both found global fame. One again, like to draw, like to do little murals around the town, but nothing really special. The other one liked to write stories, like to tell stories. Probably, you know, locally, people probably liked his stories, but again, nothing special. And they found global, mass fame in their late 40s, early 50s, and it's kind of a mystery. I mean, two guys, same town, best friends, even, you know, um, and this happened to both of them, like at the same damn time. And so the second half of this story kind of explains that, and what happens on this remote hunting trip that they take. And again, the explanation part. Uh, I didn't like that as much, but just the general idea, very, very cool story, and all the king magic was there. So that's Two Talented Bastards. My second favorite story in the book is, should have left this open, Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. I really, really like this one. Danny is a school janitor, I want to say, maintenance man, whatever. Um, he has a dream, and in that dream, he sees a partially exposed, buried body behind an abandoned gas station, close to where he lives, but a decent little ways away. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to say an hour, like an hour drive from where he lives. I mean, close enough that he has seen this rundown, abandoned gas station before. But in this dream, he sees a partially buried body, hand sticking up out of the dirt, a dog that is trying to get at that hand, trying to get a little something to eat. I mean, he sees it all clear as day. um, goes out there, confirms it, and puts an anonymous tip in, and of course the cops track that. I mean, he's not knowledgeable about how to do these things without being caught, but buys a burner phone, untraceable, whatever, so to speak, phone, and makes the tip, throws the phone away, and thinks he's all right, and they track him down, and they think that he did this. So much so that ruins. I mean, loses his job. I mean, ruins his life. A very reminiscent in that aspect of like The Outsider and what happened with the main character, the baseball coach in that one. But I mean, these cops just have it in for him. They think this guy did it. There's no way, because um, this is the only time this has ever happened. The only time he's had a vision of something. And yeah, so it's all about that. But really really cool story. And yeah, Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. Number one for me in the book was Rattlesnakes. Um, and Rattlesnakes takes place on a island in Florida. A guy has moved out there, later in life. I want to say 60s, something like that. Um, and it's a situation where really they're very remote. I mean, not a lot of people around. One lady, and she had children, twin boys. Something about a migration of rattlesnakes to this island. I'm not going to go too in depth in that, but two young boys were killed. Like they've kind of fell into this like rattlesnake nest, and they were killed at a very young age by poison. And she still pushes the stroller around everywhere. And we're talking decades later. Still pushes the stroller around. Still lays their little matching outfits out on the stroller seats. We'll tell you she knows they're not really there most of the time, but sometimes they are. And so there's this haunting aspect to it. And ultimately, our main character is haunted by this stroller. The stroller keeps showing back up at his house, and those parts were super, super creepy. But for me, the biggest thing about this book or this story was that our main character is the father from Cujo. And again, it's been a long, long time since I read Cujo, but I didn't even know that the father necessarily made an appearance. I mean, of course, the vast majority of that book is about the mom and the son in the car being, terrorized by the rabid Saint Bernard. I mean, the father might have made he might have made an appearance early or late in the book. I'm not exactly sure, but I also did not remember how brutal the ending of Cujo was. I mean, the spoiler alert for Cujo, but the kid does not make it, and I don't know that I remembered that. So this guy is still, you know, decades later dealing with the loss of his son while being somewhat haunted by this lady on the island's loss of her two sons. And yeah, but cool story, creepy story. Probably as far as creep factor, the creepiest in the book. And ties to Cujo and also ties to Duma Key. So love that aspect of it too. But you like it darker, Stephen King. I love this one. And so for me, it is what it is. I'm calling it 5 stars. Pulled me out of a slump. And yeah, just absolutely all the King magic for me. So yeah, that's it. This is Well Red Beard. This has been my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.